We are all in this together.
Visit sanddollar.bs for more information.
Michael is an amazing boss. He has an outstanding work ethic where if somebody doesn't show up to work, he's going to call, make sure that you're all right, make sure everything is good with you, man. That's just the type of person he is. Now, because Michael is such a good boss, I go into CBS Bahamas and I going to get him one of those Milwaukee drills for a Christmas gift. CBS Bahamas is the best place to get your Christmas gifts for your friends and family. CBS Bahamas.
Is on BTC.
All you have to do is sign up, top up, pay up, or watch and win with us.
Sign up for one of our $64.99 or higher postpaid plans or one of our broadband bundles.
And get a chance to drive into 2024 with a brand new Kia Sonet. Pay your bill in full and you can be a winner with our Christmas grab bag.
Activate a $15 prepaid combo and get your chance to win Visa gift cards, travel and gas vouchers, and so much more.
Watch our Hallmark movie of the week for a chance to win a prepaid Visa gift card. Make BTC your choice this Christmas
with over $100,000 in prizes.
All you have to do is sign up, top up, pay up, or watch and win with BTC. Visit any BTC location today. Terms and conditions apply.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
The Office of the Prime Minister Press Office is the primary liaison between the Fourth Estate and the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet.
Every day, we're working to build a more inclusive economy and a stronger, safer country.
Hear all of the latest developments as the Davis administration carries out the broad mandate of progress and change. Our live weekly press briefings provide full access to current newsmakers on the most topical issues of the day. We facilitate prompt responses from cabinet ministers on the latest reports and get answers on the issues that matter to you.
Will any penalties be levied against
OPM Press Now, keeping you in the know.
"13 agencies, one complex." The people of West Grand Bahama now have full access to a one-stop shop with the opening of the Obadiah H. Wilshcombe Administrative Complex. A 3-story infrastructure that provides 13 governmental services has now been named in the honor of the former Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. The former statesman who served as the Minister of Social Services and Urban Development oversaw tremendous progress in the expansion of support for those who rely on the government for help. Now, his name will be forever adorned on the walls as a reminder of his many contributions to urban development. This new site will house some of government's most core agencies, like the Public Library, Social Services, Post Services, the Parliamentary Department Office, and Public Service are just some of the government services that West Grand Bahamians can now have greater access to. Ground was first broken on this administrative complex in December of 2016. And since that time, the work had been intermittent. However, in the past 2 years, the Davis administration has worked relentlessly to see this vision through. Today, the vision is complete.
In total, we're delivering over $1.5 billion in new projects for the Grand Bahamian people. This is an important step in the right direction, but we know that we must continue to do even more if we wish to recapture the magic of Grand Bahama in the ways that Obi spoke of when he envisioned a brighter future for the people of this island.
your breakfast, and I hope you do well in school.
One of the things we're doing is ensuring that our children are fed, that they don't have what we call a hungry belly when they're in school, and it starts with breakfast. The foundation for the morning is for them to have a hot meal. That's what it's all about. The program is being expanded, and I'm happy that this school was on the radar from its inception. We have identified several schools for the pilot program. This is one of them. I'm happy to see that it's off the ground, and these children look at their eyes, and you can see the eagerness. So I want to thank the principal and his teachers and staff here for embracing what we're doing, and they seem to be appreciative of the efforts. And I want to thank the Minister of Education, Hannah Martin, who is really putting her all behind us. Her love for children is exemplified by the manner in which she's executing her duty as our Minister of Education.
Welcome to the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing. It's good to see all of you, as usual. Happy Thanksgiving. It's not a holiday here in the Bahamas, but I hope you enjoy a nice turkey dinner and, of course, give thanks for everything today. Well, today we're going to talk about two very important matters, starting with the very always timely issue of climate change. During the month of November, as you know, the world convenes at a certain destination to talk about issues related to climate change and how to stave off some of the damaging behavior that is causing havoc, wreaking havoc across the world in many different ways. We have our special climate advisor, Ms. Rochelle Newbold, Dr. Rochelle Newbold, who will give us an update on what is happening or what's expected to come out of this year's COP in the interest of the Bahamas. We also have Mr. Jack Thompson, who will talk about a very special awards ceremony to take place on Monday in honor of deserving Bahamians, which is a part of our 50th anniversary of independence celebrations. So without further ado, I will welcome Ms. Rochelle Newbold to the podium. But before that, we have a video detailing some of the goals ahead of COP28 this year.
Good morning, everyone. That video clip is what will be a part of our pavilion presentation when we attend COP this month. And it's to draw attention to the fact that first part of that presentation was all beauty and food and dancing and the environment being healthy and thriving. And the second part of that is the reality that we see ahead for our future. And that is the reason that we have to maintain a very close eye on these negotiation processes that happen as it relates to COP and climate change. So one of the questions that we foreknew would be asked today is, why are we going to COP? And as usual, there are two main factors. One is to partake in the negotiation process, and second, it is also to advance our investment programs. So let me deal with the first part, the negotiations. There are three potential outputs in the negotiations that we are seeking to follow. One being loss and damage, two being the technical assistance that will be offered to countries within the loss and damage space, and three, following up on the issues of global stocktake. So let me address number one, the Loss and Damage Fund. Since COP27, there has been diligent effort on behalf of small island developing states to advance matters relative to the Loss and Damage Fund. That Loss and Damage Fund we had formulated a transitional committee that has been working throughout this year so that when we get to COP, there are very few things that we need to discuss in order to get that fund up and running. The two main issues that we need to concretize during that is the proposed voluntary nature of the funding that would be provided to that fund, and two, who will host the actual fund. As you can imagine, for us, a voluntary requirement for financial contribution to that fund is not something that we wish to be the agreement. We need there to be clear mandated resources that are to be provided to it, and we need to make sure that whomever is going to be the host that facilitate the needs of the countries that will be making application to that fund is one that's fit for purpose and one that's responsive to the needs of those countries. We go to the COP to have this discussion under the shadow of the fact that there is a lot of geopolitical issues that are going on right now in the world where global finances are being redirected to those issues and away from this global concept or this global concern of climate change. In a matter of months, more than $200 billion was raised and distributed for issues of war and activities of that nature. And we have been in this discussion for years about $100 billion that was needed to address the climate agreement. When it comes to the issue of technical assistance to be provided to countries through the Loss and Damage Fund, we need to also agree on who will host that technical body. The Caribbean Development Bank has put themselves forward as a potential host for that, and for the region, that would really elevate our part in this whole negotiating process. They will serve to facilitate the needs of not just the Caribbean, but also Africa and the Pacific Islanders. To have that here within our region brings to bear the things that technical assistance would need to provide to all countries concerned. And we need to make sure that the technical assistance is also fit for purpose and meets the needs of countries. Because what we don't need is technical assistance that is weighted down in consultancies, that countries then have to bear the burden of paying for said skills and expertise. We also need that technical assistance to consider and be driven by technology exchanges, to be driven by grants associated with those, to not be a burden to countries, because we cannot take any more weight as from our financial partners with respect to meeting the needs that we have. And then one critical output of this year's COP is the report on the global stocktake. Through this COP, throughout the year, countries have been undertaken an analysis, an assessment to determine whether or not they are meeting the goals that were set to ensure that we can achieve the climate temperature limits that we all agreed to. And if anybody was working through the summer, we highly suspect that we do indeed, Houston, have a problem with these temperature limits. So we need to make sure that once, as a result of the global assessment that will be presented to COP, if it is clearly determined by the facts and figures that we are not doing enough, and by we're talking about our developed partners are not doing enough, they're not being ambitious, we need to make sure that that is addressed and that it is addressed in a meaningful and purposeful way. And we need that conversation to move along quickly and swiftly, because there is no sense in talking about climate change and to be reporting on the fires, the floods, the hails, the hurricanes, and we continue in a business as usual model. And if the global stocktake is undertaken by an independent body, which clearly shows that there is a non-compliance with that agreement, then we all need to make sure that where those gaps are, that they are addressed, and whatever policy, procedures, or legislative undertakings by countries need to be implemented, that they are done. And we cannot do that unless we are at the table and we are agitating for those change. So then the second area and the second reason we need to go is for issues relative to investment opportunities, which for us would be a great marker of the success. The Bahamas at this time has an investment project before the IRENA grouping, which is a financial grant to address our energy and water needs on 9 islands, so that we will be able to have technology that's provided to us to address those needs. This technology is fit for purpose, meaning that we can quickly go ahead and address the issues of water to ensure that we have stable water provisions, as well as it also provides a cooling factor associated with it. So any structures that are in and around this technology will be able to have cooling associated with it. And most of you, if you've ever been to Bahama or you've been down to the Hilton when it was open up, those 2 hotels use this technology at present to address only their air conditioning needs. But we are looking to expand that to also address our water needs and our energy needs, because we must have an energy mix that moves beyond just solar. Solar is good, but solar will not address all of our needs. So we have to have a mix of energy options here. And then we will also be launching the Blueco Caribbean project. A lot of times people would see that there are activities and programs that are being had, there are meetings that are being going to, and we are not connecting the dots for you. In August of last year, we held a regional meeting of heads of states throughout the Caribbean. And it was true during that meeting that we required the Green Climate Fund, to put in place a program that addresses our needs as island states, and addressing the fact that less than 0.1% of the global investments caters to the marine environment. And as island states, the majority of our country's boundaries encompass that environment. So we need, and we're looking for partners, and because of the fact that the Bahamas held that meeting, we then followed up to ensure in COP26 and COP27, and now we're coming to COP28 to unveil that project. So this is one of the outputs that we will be going for, and that drives our blue economy and investment strategy. We will also be unveiling the Bahamas Sustainable Investment Program. And this is a financial investment, something that was worked on from last COP, where we engage in direct conversation with our partners in the UAE, partners in the private sector firms like Ocean Society and others. And so we are now getting ready to move on a slew of projects and undertakings that will occur in short order in 2024. And then, of course, making sure that our loss and damage, we don't want to take this into a climate justice space, but if we have to, we surely will, because we need to make sure that they understand that it isn't just an issue for us. Like the Prime Minister has said over and over again, our problems will become your problems, and we don't want to get into the climate refugee sort of undertaking. The next question that's usually asked is, who is going? Our delegation this year is quite sleek and tactical. We have less than 20 individuals who will be going at this year's COP. Our length of time will range from the high-level segment, which the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as the Minister with responsibility for energy and transportation, will be attending. And then our technical team will handle all the negotiations moving forward. We do want to draw attention to the one big gap in this. Every COP since this administration came into being, we included youth, and we included youth in a big way. Unfortunately, due to security concerns at this year's COP, we will not be able to the disappointment of both the Prime Minister and the youth at large, to take our youth there. This is a direct cause to the fact that we can't replace them. If anything happens, we are unable to replace them. And having a large delegation would make it difficult should there be a need for us to pivot and leave that region as quickly as possible. And we are not willing to take that risk. So we are looking at all alternative opportunities for them to get in the earlier negotiating phase in June for the COPs, so they may look forward to that. And as we seek to move forward, we do truly want to impress upon the Bahamian people that there is a lot of work. COP is not just undertaken in this moment in time, the November 30th to December 12th period. No, COP is something that's 365 days long. Those negotiation processes occur during that whole year. And we work actively and deliberately by going to the meetings to ensure that particular text is undertaken in the negotiation phases, to follow up with the discussions and to make contacts and to leverage partnership activities that we undertake from meetings to meetings, with country to country, and making sure that there is a tangible output. And while we understand that the process isn't swift and immediate, it is slow, but it is deliberate. And that is the slow and steady wins the race. That's what we always say. And we are trying our endeavor best to make sure to bring back tangible, useful, and effective outputs from these meetings, because we don't have the luxury. We're an island state. Climate change is the hurricane, climate change is the heat index, climate change is the health problems that comes in relation to that. We don't have the luxury to sit back and do nothing, to not be a part of the discussions, to not demand that people adhere to the agreements and the outputs that have been agreed to, and to ensure that they take the responsibility where it ought to be laid. So with that, we look forward to being able to come home and show you what we've been able to deliver on. And hopefully, with the Lord's help, we would be a more resilient country, and we would be able to maintain a livelihood like we showed in the first part of that film, and that the things associated with the second part of that film may be limited and small in nature. Questions? I just love it when you guys don't have any questions. All right, then. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Newbold. We look forward to hearing the results of this year's meetings. I now welcome Mr. Jack Thompson, who will give us details of the upcoming awards. Of course, these awards affiliated with the 50th anniversary of independence, which are going on all year long. Mr. Thompson.
So thank you very much, Madam Press Secretary. And good morning to all. Good morning to all. And good morning to those who are viewing us by way of television. So I am extremely pleased this morning to share some light on the Golden Jubilee Independence Award of Supreme Honor. The Golden Jubilee Independence Award of Supreme Honor. As part of the Golden Jubilee anniversary, meaning our 50th year celebration of our nation's independence, a special Independence Golden Jubilee Award of Supreme Honor will be conferred upon persons drawn from the widest possible expanse of recorded Bahamian history, whose inspirational example makes them singularly worthy of a national recognition and commendation. We propose to honor over 100 Bahamians who would have given service to the Bahamas, which has been exemplified in visionary and pioneering leadership extraordinary achievement and attainment of the highest excellence, which has rebounded to the honor of our country. This year, we intend to honor the number of Bahamians on Monday, the 27th of November, that's Monday coming, at 10 a.m. at Bahama Resort. The National Advisory Committee is comprised of the following persons, or the following persons make up the National Advisory Committee. Mr. Sean McCreaney, KC Chairman, His Excellency Wendell K. Jones, Mr. Idris Reed, Mrs. Ruby Nottage, Mr. Ed Bethel served on the committee, Dr. Christopher Curry, Dr. Tracy Thompson, Dr. Keith Tinker, Mr. Ian Poitier, Mr. Eddie Carter. Mr. Peter DeVoe Isaac serves as Secretary to the Advisory Committee. And Madam Press Secretary, with your permission, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Peter DeVoe Isaacs to comment on the workings of the committee and perhaps to share some of the honorees to be recognized for their invaluable contributions to our beloved Bahama land on Monday. I give you Mr. Peter DeVoe Isaacs.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Thompson, and thank you, Madam Press Secretary. So the advisory committee, chaired by Mr. Sean McCreaney, and Mr. Thompson has already indicated the members, was formulated by the Prime Minister himself, and he gave them a charge to come up with distinguished Bahamians over the expanse of history and make recommendations to him on who should be honored with this special award. The deliberations of the committee took about 6 months. They were intense. You know, it's difficult to come up with 100 names, and that was not arbitrarily chosen, 100. The recommendation was made to the Prime Minister that we would choose 50 living and 50 persons who've deceased, who've died. And so that is what was done, and the Prime Minister, in his own wisdom, reviewed the recommendations, and he accepted, for the most part, those recommendations. We really appreciate the work of the committee. They're comprised of individuals whom everyone knows and who have a stake in the growth and development of the country. Sean McCreaney, an eminent lawyer, but also a historian of note. Chris Curry, and also Tracy Thompson, historians. Idris Reed, a distinguished public servant, retired permanent secretary. We have on that committee Wendell Jones, a journalist of note who is now an ambassador. The other person is Ruby Nottage, a retired justice. Ian Poitier, a cultural, I don't know what you can say about Mr. Poitier, but a cultural icon in the country. These persons have put in great work, and I think they ought to be commended for the work that they've done. And we are just so proud to see this celebration next week, Monday. We thank the Governor General for allowing us to have this event in the precincts of Government House, which is now moved to Bahama for this occasion. And that's about it. We certainly would like, if you have questions for me for the work of the committee. Mr. Thompson wants me to mention some of those names, but I'd have to mention 100 names. So what we're going to do is give you a copy of the press release that was issued back in July 8th, where this was issued. It was in your papers and in your media. I think the news got drowned out quite a bit because of all the activities around that time. But there are 100 names, and these represent people who have really made the Bahamas and and created our identity as Bahamians. And I think you'd be proud of them. But we're going to pass this document out so that you could have it, and you can then, there it is. And you could then, I don't know if you want to look at it and ask me questions about those names, but I'm not prepared to talk about the selection of those names. And by the way, these were recommendations to the Prime Minister. So Mr. McCready made sure to tell me that whatever I say, tell you that these were recommendations to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister selected some of them, and that is what you have. Thank you very much. So are there any questions about? You're going to treat me like Rochelle, right? No questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the update, and we look forward to those awards come Monday. I just have one announcement regarding the Ministry of Health and the push that it's been on to improve the health system across the country, but particularly in Grand Bahama, work is ongoing to improve the health system there, to improve resources, human resources, and otherwise. And that is, of course, headlined by the commencement of work on the Freeport Health Campus. As you know, ground was broken earlier this year for that new health facility in Grand Bahama, and work is underway there. I can also tell you that a new ambulance has been shipped to Grand Bahama, and along with that, 5 emergency medical technicians will sit their final examinations this week. And if they are successful, which we believe they will be, 8 Mile Rock Clinic will enjoy 24-hour emergency support. So that is a huge plus for that community. The Ministry of Health is also addressing a longstanding backlog when it comes to eye procedures, which are much needed in some parts of the Bahamas. The eye care program, as you may know, is being carried out with the government of the Bahamas in conjunction with the government of Cuba. And so far, this program has allowed some 190 persons to benefit from eye care-related surgeries, with a 90% success rate at that. And the Public Hospitals Authority has welcomed 18 new nurses from Ghana to the Bahamas. And the minister is, of course, applauding this. This will, of course, add to the capacity, human resources needs to continue to boost the health system in Grand Bahama in particular in this instance. I don't know if there are any further questions.
We know that yesterday the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection said that they opened an investigation into the mangroves that were destroyed in Adelaide Village. Can you say what's going on with that investigation, and if government is concerned at all that people are, destroying the environment in such a large scale?
Well, any destruction to the environment is something that the government monitors closely, that the government will not tolerate. The Prime Minister's office is aware of the complaints that have been lodged in that regard, and an investigation is underway. And we will have further details on that and what the result is or the response is as soon as that is available. But the Prime Minister's office is aware of it, and an investigation is underway into that. All right. Thank you, everybody. No questions. Morning. We're going to move on to our vendor for today, Crooked Island Teas. If you can come forward for me. And they have a lovely display here of teas, and they look like flower cakes straight from Cat Island. Straight from flower cakes from Crooked Island. Yes, please explain.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to represent Crooked Island Herbal Teas. My name is Tishka Moss, and though I am not a native of Crooked Island, I had the good sense to marry into a wonderful Crooked Island family. This business was started by my mother-in-law, Angela Moss, and it was in which year? 2008. They returned to Crooked Island after Hurricane Joaquin had devastated the island, and she and her mother, when they drove around and saw the devastation and how much the vegetation grew up, the idea jumped into her head. And so that's how we got started. Today we have 5 teas in the portfolio. We have Sweet Margaret, Fever Grass, Emerald Blend, Man Up, which is very popular with our males, and Refreshing Blend. Today, however, we have the Sweet Margaret and the Emerald Blend, and as Ms. Adderley mentioned, we have Crooked Island Flour Cakes by Millie. Now, to reach us, the easiest way would be via telephone or WhatsApp, 803-6556, that's 803-6556. We also have a website, crookedislandherbals.com. She's on social media as Crooked Island Teas, correct? Tea Leaves, sorry. And the email is crookedislandtealeaves@outlook.com. So I don't know if any of you grew up in the kind of home that I did. My grandmother was a tea drinker. Like a day did not pass where we did not have tea. And for me, I was like kind of teed out. I'm like, you know what, I'm an adult, I'm not drinking any tea anymore. But I tasted her tea and now I'm a tea drinker again. It's an excellent gift for Christmas. For those that just need a minute to just relax and catch yourself. That's what I do in the evenings after the kids have gone to bed. I get a nice cup of tea and just, you know, process the day kind of thing. We're also available in some stores at the airport, I know for sure, and Atlantis. So you can find them there. Did I leave anything out? Flour cakes are from Crooked Island by Millie. I don't have contact. Oh. Millie, can you give us your contact info quickly? 426-9636. And that's it. Thank you. Samples are on the table. They're on the table.
So what do you know? They do flour cakes in Crooked Island too. Learn something new every day. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Of course, you can start your Thanksgiving early with a taste of the Crooked Island teas and flour cakes. Everybody, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving Day. Thanks again for coming and have a great day.
At the Dixon Hill Lighthouse in San Salvador to let you know that marine protected areas make dollars and cents. A well-designed and managed network of protected areas can generate income for nearby communities. From MPA managers to lodges to eco-tours, there is money to be made.
Healthy marine ecosystems help to protect our islands from climate change and other impacts that we cannot control. Healthy coral reefs help to break down fake waves, and mangroves absorb storm surge and help to protect our coastline.